Hi there. I guess I could go ahead and start with the intro first.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are. I just forgot to put it on the color bars.
How long have we been live for? Oh.
Don't worry, they didn't hear all those horrible things you just said. And here we are. Okay. Cool. Everything's all set up. I'm Brad Jones. Laura Luke Jones here. And, I guess I gotta say goodbye to this hat. I gotta say goodbye. It sold on auction earlier, so I gotta say goodbye to my White Castle hat. But not to White Castle entirely, because that would just be ridiculous of me. So, this sold on auction earlier, so welcome to the era of Looney Tunes hat. Should I put up a poll frontwards or backwards?
I like it when it's forward. I like it, but it's your thing, so.
But this makes it look like I'm down with the kids. What's up, fellow high school students?
Narc.
Hey kids, let's rap about VHS.
I like it forwards.
Here's a proper way to clean your Betamax players, kids. You kids down with the Bee Gees? We're reviewing a Travolta movie tonight, so I had to find my BG shirt. So, alright, before we get into the movies, subscribe to our channel. You see, one guy gets it. He says the hat should be sideways. Subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/StoneGremlin Productions. Also follow us on Twitter at the Cinema Snobs. See, let's see how this looks.
No, don't.
What?
Oh my god, you look awful.
I can store chips and shit in there.
You look awful.
Oh, thank you, honey. That's what you said when you walked down the aisle and you met me on our wedding day. Like up right there, I saw you for the first time. Or not the first time. I saw you in your wedding ever.
Oh, we arranged marriage.
Saw you for the first time in your wedding dress. You looked at me and went, "You look awful."
That's not what happened at all.
Well, I lost my tux and I was wearing a potato sack, so it was actually.
Why would you go in a potato sack?
Well, you've been living here for a while. We do eat a lot of potatoes around here.
No, we don't.
No, I mean we as a community in Springfield. We got
corn
and corn and lots of corn. And lots of fried things. So, okay. We got 3 movies coming up tonight. We'll be talking about the live-action remake of Aladdin. Also, the evil Superman child movie Brightburn from producer James Gunn. And I didn't even realize until like an hour ago that I was also going to be reviewing this movie. I've also seen the John Travolta, Morgan Freeman.
God, Morgan
noir.
Freeman's barely in it.
And he also doesn't look like that in the movie either. I noticed that when I pulled the poster. So I didn't realize until about an hour or so ago that I was going to include it on this particular episode of the show. So this probably won't be a very long review, but we will be talking about the new John Travolta movie, which is, The Poison Rose. And there is another movie out this weekend as well, but we reviewed it last week. So if you want to check out our review of the comedy Booksmart, directed by Olivia Wilde, that review is also that review is also public, so you can check that out. Plus, plenty of stuff you can check out from the week. I interviewed Steve Guttenberg a couple of days ago. We have our review of LaQuisha that's up. Plus, there's a Cinema Snob episode on Battlefield Earth. And speaking of LaQuisha, the Medea Halloween episode came back from copyright purgatory. So if you haven't seen the Cinema Snobs Boo a Medea Halloween episode, that one's back. And if you got 3.5 hours to kill, there's also the giant binge watch episode that I did on The Big Bang Theory. So plenty of stuff to watch there. And before we get into our first review of the night, which will be for the remake of Aladdin, let's go ahead and take a look at a clip and we'll be back with the review.
I could just make you a prince.
Oh, no.
Right, you'll be snuggled up with that dude for the rest of your life.
Yo, y'all see my palace?
Be specific with your word, which I don't really understand because if she already likes you, why change?
I told you, she has to marry a prince.
I just want to go home, man.
Okay, I can do that.
And if you want to submit your super chat questions as well, we will be as always, we'll be answering the super chat questions in between the reviews. So get your super chat questions, comments in there, and we'll read those here in a little bit. So, all right. Live action Aladdin. We went to go see this movie last night, and it is the latest one of this long line, and it seems to be continuing trend as well of Disney taking all of their animated classics and for a new generation making them at best wildly mediocre. That way we can raise a generation of unimaginative, boring children. And so here's Aladdin.
When we were doing the another Cinema Snob movie,
which started out as a remake of Aladdin.
No, what I was gonna say is that someone had their kid there.
Yeah.
And when she thought about like Aladdin, or not Aladdin, I'm sorry, Beauty and the Beast, she's never even seen the original.
Sure.
She doesn't even know what the original is, and the kids I take care of don't even know the original animated one either. No one has seen this kind of thing like animated, and it's such a better movie.
Yes, but the live action one is newer, so that means it's better.
That's
what the kids want.
I am so sick of these live action things. Like I was telling you earlier, like you remember like in the early 2000s when there was always like these direct-to-video sequels.
The Disney sequels, yeah.
Yeah. And you said you think this is worse than that, right?
This trend of what they're doing right now, I do find to be worse, actually.
Yeah.
Because the Disney direct-to-video sequels, you know, they just went direct-to-video. That's it. And if you weren't looking, you might not even have known that they were a thing. They just went direct-to-video, and that's it. Plus, given that they were sequels, they weren't, by and large, they simply weren't just doing the other movie again. For better or worse, like I'm not saying that makes it a good movie necessarily, but it wasn't just doing the same thing again necessarily. Whereas more often than not, that's the case with these movies, and these movies, like the Disney sequels, sure, but these movies to an even greater extent, these are certainly paycheck movies. They're movies because they're an easy thing to churn out, to make, to most likely make a pretty decent amount of money, like Beauty and the Beast did, like I'm sure Lion King surely will. So, you know, I mean, I will say, before I get into some negative things about this movie, what I will say is there are positive things about it. I don't know what I necessarily think of this compared to, say, Beauty and the Beast, but
I like this more than Beauty and the Beast.
This one, they
did things differently. It wasn't like a shot for shot like remake. Like everything was at least changed up a bit in this one.
Some scenes would kind of play out a little differently, and you could tell it was trying to give a slightly different flair to some of the scenes, to some of the musical numbers. Like, it's certainly the same story again, and it has a lot of the same songs in it too, but you could tell it was, at least in doing that, it was trying to have a slightly more of a voice to it than, say, Beauty and the Beast did. There are some things that I did genuinely think were fine here. The guy who plays Aladdin, not that he works all the time, but
he's kind of boring. Sometimes
I thought he worked. There were other times where I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. Like, it seems like he's just kind of going through the motions here. Other times, when he was playing off of, some scenes where he was playing off of Will Smith, I thought he was fine. I'll say this. He looks the part. He looks like the character from the Disney movie.
Sometimes he even kind of sounded like him.
Yeah.
But he was still kind of boring compared to, like, and I'm trying to take off my nostalgia goggles a little bit, but it's really hard not to compare this movie to the original. So I'm going to say, like, Aladdin, the animated one, he was very charismatic and very, like, his singing voice is also better, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one cameo they should have had in there, is Steve from Full House. This is the voice of the original Aladdin. The dynamic between Aladdin and the genie in this movie was different than what it was in the original. In this one, it's their friendship kind of builds over the movie a little bit. There's a lot of this movie where this is really just kind of a job for Will Smith's genie. Like, it's not that he wishes ill will necessarily upon Aladdin, but it does come across like, okay, like, this is just what I'm here for. This is my master right now. Sure, I'll get along with him because I have to.
He's been doing this a long time.
And so, yeah, there's certainly a lot of jokes in there. There's certainly a lot of back and forth between the two. But you can tell that there's a lot of scenes where the character of Genie is kind of annoyed with Aladdin. And is frustrated by a lot of the mistakes that he is making. I enjoyed that. That was something different. And Will Smith, I'll get into the effects in a little bit, but Will Smith, he isn't doing Robin Williams in this.
He's trying to make his own spin on things. And
I thought he did. I really did. When I was watching this, when it started getting a little bit into, like, now he turns into a waiter or something like that, then it was hard not to think of Robin Williams. But this movie doesn't do a lot of that. There's never a point in this movie where, like, Will Smith starts impersonating, like, Jack Nicholson or Rodney Dangerfield.
Right.
He is being Will Smith in this movie. He is making the character of the genie Will Smith.
He's trying really hard, and he's the best part of the movie.
He is.
He is. Like, he is doing actually a pretty good job in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard not to think about Robin Williams because Robin Williams is so hard not to, like... I don't know. It's just hard not to think about.
Well, yeah, sure, because it's the kind of remake that's begging you to think about the other movie because so much of it is like the other movie. It's not a new version of the story of Aladdin. It is a remake of Disney's Aladdin, so it's doing the same things as that film. They add things to this where Nasim Pedrad is in this movie, and she is a love interest to Will Smith, and that... I actually did enjoy that, but largely because I was like, well, that's different. That's something that's added. A couple reasons why I didn't mind that is...
It was okay.
Yeah, also, I thought...
it was just added to make it longer.
Well, sure, I'm sure it was, because it's a much longer movie than the other one, but it was... I liked their chemistry better than I liked the chemistry of Aladdin and Jasmine. Yeah. I was rooting for them more so than I was rooting for the other characters, really. So because of that, I honestly wished it was... Because really, here's what this movie kind of is. It's like watching a Bollywood remake of Hitch. That still just happens to have Will Smith in it as Hitch, but now he's a genie. Like, because this movie is... It feels like it's doing this kind of Bollywood takeoff of Aladdin and how a lot of the dance numbers are in some of the slapstick as well, even some of the romantic scenes in the movie. And like a lot of Bollywood remakes, it's too long and I'd rather watch the original.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did Alan Menken do like the other songs? Do you know that?
I don't know. Oh, the newer songs in the book? I'll get to that in a minute. But like I don't. No, I think I saw a credit at the opening that said like original songs by these people, newer songs by these other people. And there wasn't any musical number in this that I enjoyed better than a musical number in the original film, but I at least appreciated that since this movie's not an animated movie, it's not that it's trying to just simply copy a lot of the jokes from the musical numbers of the original. It feels like it's what this dance number would be like in a live action movie and with the tools they have to do these in live action versus straight up just copying jokes from the original.
From the new songs in this, what was it like? Speechless, that song. Oh my god, we both looked at each other doing that and we're like, wow.
So, okay.
Okay, sorry, am I jumping ahead too much?
No, it's okay. I can just pull up
Well, I was going to say, like, the new songs in this felt like a song that I would see in a Disney TV movie.
Here's what the new songs in this movie sound like. Because there was... Before I mention that, these couple of extra songs in the movie. Now, for a lot of this movie, I wasn't sitting there as annoyed as I was during Beauty and the Beast.
No, I wasn't either.
Or this is way better than Dumbo.
No, this is not as bad as those two.
This movie is for I would say the first half, maybe a little more. I wasn't necessarily sitting there annoyed. I was sitting there thinking, you're not doing a good job of convincing me that this is necessary. There's never a moment where I'm sitting here thinking, oh, this is worth seeing, or, oh, now they've given this voice that makes it totally extra, and now I'm glad I'm seeing this movie. Yeah. Because the original Aladdin is a hilarious film.
It's a brilliant movie. I love that movie.
This movie, while the jokes aren't exactly what they were in the original, which is good, there is really, for something that's a remake of a movie that has heart, certainly, and it is very hilarious, this movie is not that funny. There was maybe only a few times that I laughed in this movie.
And that was mostly from Will Smith.
It was all from Will Smith.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm gonna keep jumping around. So why don't you go ahead and play that clip?
I don't have a, but I do have a picture. So okay, now it did reach one point in this with me where I was like, okay, at the beginning of the film, a lot of frustrations that I was having in the first half of this movie, while I was sitting there thinking, okay, this isn't terrible by any means. It's not I'm not having the same reaction towards this that I am towards some of the other movies, but it is one of those movies where it's condensing a lot of sequences from the original because it feels like they are in a huge rush to get to the genie appearance. Because
I get that, though.
It sacrifices character build-up, it sacrifices pacing, it sacrifices a lot of world building and story to this movie. So suddenly Aladdin and Jasmine meet in the streets.
Yeah, that's suddenly like the first 20 minutes of this movie.
It's all within the first 20 minutes. It's suddenly he's with, it moves too fast. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I know who these characters are.
But I don't know why they love each other, right away.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Because it's condensing so much of it in this quick amount of times. Like, I know who these characters are because I've seen the original. But you're still supposed to tell a story here. Even though this is a remake, you still gotta build up these characters for me. Especially because you're asking me to accept this as a good movie despite how much it's lifting from the other one. And because it's condensing so much story, so much character building, it moves so freaking fast just to, I assume, get to the genie much quicker than if they were wasting time on other things.
If I met
time.
If I met someone just one night, I would never go to this extent of trying to marry them.
Well, that's because
I don't believe in love at first sight, first of all.
Well, honey, that's because you didn't go see The Sun Is Also a Star with me. You would be saying something completely different.
I believe in love, but it's not like I'm...
I will bet you I can get you to fall in love with me by the end of the night.
That's how our first date was.
No, I'm saying that right now.
Well, apparently we had an arranged marriage. When I saw you for the first time and your wedding dress. Jesus.
Yeah, I just had to skip ahead a few steps. I'm so busy with work. I got so many shows going on. I'm too old to go to the bars.
But I would never, ever, I met someone for one night. I'm never gonna, I want to become have my first wish on a genie is not gonna be can I just marry this person that I just met for one night? I'm not gonna... My genie wishes are not going to be wasted on that.
There are a couple of things in this movie that are really, really, really bad. Now, stuff like we're mentioning right now is clunky. It's clunky, but that's not making me say that this movie's bad necessarily. No, it just means...
I was in on it, for a while.
It sounds like you were... For a while, you were more in on it than I was, because I was never really liking this movie. I was tolerating it at best.
Well, I like to see these, I like to hear these songs again. And the set design I thought was nice. Everything was pretty big and everything, and I thought that was kind of cool. But there are so many things they messed up in this movie, like A Whole New World. That is when it totally lost me, because that's such an iconic scene in the movie, and everything in that scene was just awful. It was awful. I'm sorry, but that was just a terrible remake of that scene.
Yeah, you disliked that more than I did necessarily. Like sorry. No, the other laptop. No, that part back over here.
Oh, sorry.
It's not that part like wowed me necessarily or anything like that, but it played like, given how the other musical numbers were before then, it played like I thought it would, but at that point. No, it wasn't as good as it was in the original, but I was sitting there just kind of thinking, yeah, this is how I figured this sequence would probably look in this movie.
I don't know, that whole scene just lost me. And Jafar.
Okay,
I'm gonna get to Jafar.
Yeah.
Ugh, God! Awful. First of all, okay, they de-age him, so it's less creepy. God, I have so much to say about this. Jafar is such a good villain, and they messed this up so much.
I'll say this about him, like, that he's
handsome.
He's not doing the other Jafar. It comes across like he is trying to put that this movie is, I don't know what kind of direction he was given necessarily, but I can't think if I've seen him in anything else. I probably have, but I just can't think off the top of my head, so I don't know how he is in other scenes, but I'll say it's like, okay, it does seem to show that he's not just straight up doing the other Jafar, that it's trying to do its own thing.
Yeah, but Jafar's so over the top, and when you're a villain, you need to be over the top.
The guy was lame. The character was really lame in this. He was unthreatening.
Like, it's okay to be low-key and calculating, but he wasn't even doing that.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, it's like you're asking me to compare this to something that's way better, and I can't help but do that. I can't help but do that because the other thing is wildly better than what you're doing here. The way that Jafar is in this movie is just, he's very unthreatening. He seems very small comparatively to how larger than life he was in the original. Like, he's forgettable.
Yes.
He's very forgettable. He doesn't show very much menace in the movie. One part where I thought he kind of worked was when he's convincing Aladdin to go in the Cave of Wonders, because I was like, okay, the way Jafar looks in this, the way that he's talking, the way he's delivering some lines, I believe that he could convince Aladdin to go into this cave.
If he was like really like calculating and like very manipulative, and which he is in that scene, but throughout the rest of the scene, the movie, he's not like that intimidating.
No, he's not. He's not at all. But there's problems with other characters in this movie too, because Aladdin, he starts out like Aladdin, that he's this street thief and like kind of a con man. He's charismatic. He's good at talking his way out of things. And then he's bumbling to the point to where he is like Kevin James in Hitch.
Yeah.
There's parts where he's dancing in this musical numbers, then he needs the genie's help in making him dance, and then later on he's doing flips off of glaciers. Like, there's not a lot of consistency to him in this, whereas like he's learning some of the same lessons from the other one, but in the other one, when Aladdin is Prince Ali, he is still charming and can kind of talk his way out of things and talk his way through some situations. This, I understand, to have him portray Prince Ali differently. I get that, because I'm not asking for everything to be like the original, but because you're doing it similar in one way and then changing it here, it makes this inconsistency with the character in this movie.
The thing is, like, okay, I don't want it to be like Beauty and the Beast, where everything is shot for shot remake.
No, I don't want that at all.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, don't try and do the same exact thing, but in live action, especially when someone's not a real singer, like Emma Watson. She was, don't get me started, but, with like Aladdin was already a great movie, and you don't need to make it again. Like, but something like Hunchback, that movie is flawed, and you know how I love that movie.
It's your favorite movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying like with that being a remake, I think that is necessary because it's already kind of flawed. You might as well remake it and take all the bad parts out of it.
I love Hunchback, but it is a flawed masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's a movie that is, I think it's a great film, but its flaws are glaring, and that lends itself to things that you could do differently in a remake. Certainly, this, Beauty and the Beast, and others, it's just made to make money.
That's exactly like that's why I'm on board with the Hunchback remake. But with this, I was like, why? It's unnecessary. These are so unnecessary. It's just obviously cash grabs. And
there was one part in this movie that I thought was genuinely embarrassing. There was one part in this movie where I was sitting there going, I've been tolerating this for a while, like never really thinking it's that good, but not really being totally emotionally invested one way or another. And it hits a point where I was like, this is embarrassing. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a black eye on this movie. Like, this is one of the most embarrassing things I've seen since the futter whacking from when they did this with Alice in Wonderland. So they add a couple of new songs in this movie. One was like, when it happened earlier on in the movie, I was like, okay, whatever, fine, move on to the next thing. Now, when it happens again towards the end, where the movie stops for this song that Jasmine has, Speechless, I believe is what it's called, by Jasmine in the film.
It was like trying to be like Frozen, kind of.
That's okay. Yeah, this does not. It sound. Not only is it. Not only is it. Are we upside down right now? Hang on, just a second. Sorry, someone tried calling me a second ago. I need to pop up the chat real quick. Properly in the movies. Are we? How's the camera angle look?
Just switch it.
Yeah. Sorry about this, guys. Now I know what happens when someone tries calling me when I'm. Oh shoot. Okay. No, there it goes. It's connected. There. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Just do it upside down.
Just do it upside down,
yeah,
honey.
Why not? When we review Stranger Things, I guess I could do that. Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, now we're tilted. But whatever.
Fine.
Whatever.
That was annoying. Anyway, okay. Let me go ahead and pause this real quick. So, it's you guys saw none of that because it was still on the picture of. It was still on the picture of Jasmine. Okay, so what happened was I used my phone to I used my phone to do this. So someone tried calling a second ago, and then I declined it. When it came back, we were upside down on there, so I have no idea if that's what it looked like on this end. Anyway, that was stupid.
What were we talking about?
So, okay, we were talking about
Speechless.
We were talking about this song.
It sounded like a song, like a throwaway song from Frozen.
Yeah, it's like everything else sounds like, it's from Aladdin. This one, the way it's written, stylistically, the way it's sung, the way it sounds like a reject from Frozen. And to basically put forth this message in the movie that you've already conveyed through the dialogue, like, I got the point even before this song is sung through what conversations Jasmine was having with other characters and things that she said, and then the movie wildly goes out of place for this number she has that just, I'm sorry, it came across as cynical, disingenuous, pandering crap that happens for like a minute or two in this movie. And I just sat there and sunk, like, this is awful.
We both were staring at each other a little bit during that, and
like, this is not happening.
Yeah, we're like, oh, this is terrible. We were like,
so this is happening, right? I'm not just having a fever dream right now.
Yeah. Well, I think the other song that you were talking about, the one that Aladdin was singing. Is
that who was singing the other new song?
Yeah, I'm pretty
couldn't
sure.
Remember.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because there was a song that was in Aladdin that Aladdin was supposed to sing about his mom or something.
Okay.
So maybe that was like a song that they added in there because it was the original song that was in the original. But I don't know. I could be wrong. But...
I don't know. I just remember it felt like earlier on in the movie there was some newer song in the film that it was like, okay, that sounds different.
It just...
And then
this
happens.
So
you could cut that out and lose nothing
it felt like a deleted
nothing.
It felt like a deleted scene.
Oh yeah, like every extra scene from the Beauty and the Beast remake.
Yeah, all these extra songs like from the Beauty and the Beast, that was awful. And just everything that they added in this, it's a children's movie. Like, it doesn't need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes by filler.
If it's gonna be 2 hours and 10 minutes, at least be good.
No, I mean there are movies that are 2 hours and 10 minutes that are fine, that are kids' movies. Like, hell, I love that stupid movie that's like 9 hours long called The 10th Kingdom, and
that's a mini series,
and it was on TV, so whatever.
Oh yeah, mini series is gonna be really long. I mean, the original Mary Poppins is like 2.5 hours or something like that. Yeah, like, I mean, if it's gonna be, this is as long as the Beauty and the Beast remake, which was 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm like, how is this movie like 40 minutes longer and feels so rushed as far as its story goes?
How would you rank this though, like out of the remakes?
I
like this more than I didn't mean to cut you off, sorry.
No, go ahead, because I'm still thinking.
I liked this one more than Dumbo and
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Honestly, out of all of them, this might be the best one, which is kind of sad.
Pete's Dragon I thought was way better than
I didn't see that one, so
Pete's Dragon I liked.
Cinderella wasn't that great.
Cinderella I didn't see.
Okay, Maleficent was actually pretty good. I actually liked Maleficent more than this one.
This was better than Beauty and the Beast. It was better than Dumbo. I liked Pete's Dragon better. Jungle Book was probably better than this. I don't know. But I mean,
they're all mediocre.
Yeah, it's like, just get your mojo back, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, enough with this crap. Enough with it. Yeah. Like, that's just it. It's just made for box office. No other reason.
There's no heart behind it. There's no passion. There's nothing. Like, it's all, like, money grabbing. No passion. There's no, like, artistic passion behind this. And it makes me sad, like, that's... Ugh, God.
At least Dumbo tried to.
No,
like...
it didn't.
They
made Tim Burton suck.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying at least like it wasn't just doing the other movie again. Like,
I guess, but you have Tim Burton doing a circus movie starring Danny DeVito, and that sucked ass.
Yeah, it did suck ass. It's a way worse movie than this. But I will say about it, like, at least.
Well, I thought the kids were natural. Don't be sardonic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's like, okay, don't jump down my ass every time I dare disagree with you. That's enough. I'm not talking.
I know. I know you're not.
No, I mean, Dumbo failed in its scripting by far and away. And every time, and some of the worst things about Dumbo was when it was trying to go back to something the original one did. But I will say it wasn't like it was Beauty and the Beast where it's from point A to point B.
Yeah. It just makes me want to watch the original again.
Yeah.
That's all it does. Okay, I feel like I've talked this movie down enough, but
oh my God! Just put it out of its misery.
I thought, you know what, the first, 30 minutes I thought were fine.
Yeah.
Or maybe were fine. I don't know. I just watched the original, honestly, that's all.
Yeah. No, certainly. And,
what?
Not that I'm just still thinking about referencing the review for the other movies of these. It's like,
sorry, honey.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. If Sarah was here, she'd say this movie's fine because there's lots of Spider-Man movies.
Oh my god, honey.
I'm sorry. You started it.
No, I said I was sorry.
Me too.
Don't be sardonic, honey. I thought the kids were totally natural.
Those kids sucked.
Oh my god.
Right.
When we came out of that movie, I was like, well, that was a mess. Those kids looked like they had a lobotomy or something.
But another quote for the DVD box. All right, you want to get into Brightburn?
Yeah.
This movie, I mean,
Oh man,
quality
she's
of
gonna
just
hate me.
this movie is that, like, I would say, it's, if you want to watch it on Netflix or something like that, fine. It's weird to say because it's like, well, just watch the original. But if you're curious enough, just wait for it to be on Netflix or rent it or something like that. So, all right, let's go ahead and get
Oh
into
my
Brightburn.
god, now I just lost a friend.
No, you didn't. We always give each other shit. All right, here's a clip from Brightburn. All right, now this movie here, straight up, answers a lot of questions. First of all, from that clip, he's really lucky that didn't go south very, very fast. Like, you are taking a gamble putting your fist inside of a lawnmower. Now, this movie does answer a lot of questions, which is if you know what, it is true. If you do find a baby in a spaceship, you probably shouldn't take that baby home.
You should probably shoot it.
You should no, because that won't do anything. But you should probably tell somebody, and you probably shouldn't take it back home to your farmhouse and then raise it. And also, it's a what if movie. Now, this is the horror film that's out from producer James Gunn, and his brothers, I believe, wrote it as well. Like, so, it's if the Superman origin story.
If he was like a
if he was evil,
sociopath.
if he was a sociopathic kid who was evil and wanted to take over the world.
It's an interesting idea.
And also, if Ma and Pa Kent were dumb as hell.
Okay, the dad's not as dumb.
They're pretty much the married couple from The Intruder, where so much evidence and everything is building up. And there's a
you
lot
saw The
of
Intruder. I did.
It kind of, the married couple played kind of similar to what it does in this movie, to where it was getting kind of funny after a while, like the hand-braking scene you see in the trailer. Like, well, look, I mean, that was clearly like an accident. It was fine. And then the bloody shirt later on, like, well, that could be anything. No, I think he killed our friend. No, he didn't do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the dad's not as dumb. The mom, she just really wanted a child, so she's looking past it. It's like if you find your kid hiding drugs or something under his mattress.
Like a bloody shirt after a murder scene?
I don't know. If he, I don't know.
After she's seen the symbol that he's drawing hundreds of times in his notebook.
She was in denial.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was amusing about the film, certainly. And there really is no progression to how evil he gets in the movie.
I think he's just a sociopath, though. I don't think, he was just fine before.
There was... No, they mentioned in the movie that he kind of was, because they tried chalking it up at one point to him just going through puberty. So, but I mean, it moves along fast. It's an opening scene where they hear something outside, cut to a sequence where they're now raising a baby, and then he's 12. It moves pretty fast.
Well, that's
and
fine
then
with that. It's a horror. I like it when horror movies sometimes, when it's like a B horror movie, when they move fast just to get to the point, where we want to watch the bloodiness and the... I like that.
I could use about 5 minutes extra.
No, I like it when it moves really, from... Okay, I don't really care about the build-up. I just want to see blood and guts and stuff.
No, I need, a little more.
When it's a B movie, I don't care. I don't need character development. I just want to see, blood and stuff.
Now, sometimes, sure. I mean, it all depends on the movie. Sometimes, sure. In this, no, there could have been a couple of, because there's times where it just sort of feels like there's important elements of the story missing. From going to this point, jumping to this point, jumping to this point. There's even a couple of scenes in this movie that feel like they're edited out of place. There's a part that has to do with the dad. I forget the actor. Is it Roy from The Office?
Roy, yeah. He was fun.
No, he's really good in this, and so is Elizabeth Banks. So's the kid. So there's a point later on with him, with Roy. I'll just call him Roy.
Yeah, we'll just call him Roy.
With a pellet gun that feels like, was this originally supposed to kind of happen earlier in the movie? But all of that being said, though, because I guess I kind of wanted to get some, like, story things out of the way first for this movie. I actually really did have a good time with this movie.
No, it's a lot of fun. I thought, Roy,
yeah.
he was really good in this. He was funny, and it wasn't, like, too funny where it felt out of place or anything. Like, it was... And then the guy from Breaking Bad and from that sitcom Mom. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's him. Mm-hmm. He was good in this too. And there's a lot of goriness in it that's pretty good.
You know, there's some very gory moments in this. This is the second week in a row I've seen a very heavily gory scene involving an eyeball.
What was the other one?
John Wick 3. Both of them were very, very, like, cringe-worthy moments. This one probably more so. It lingers on it way more in this one.
Yeah, it's in the trailer.
Yeah, you see it in the trailer.
She gets, like, glass in her eye and pulls it out.
Oh, yeah. So, like, it's been a very nice couple of weeks for some Lucio Fulci-style eyeball scenes. This movie, here's what this movie really, really does right. Now, if you're going into this movie expecting it to be grand on the level of an actual Superman movie, you're going to the wrong kind of movie. This is a it is a horror take off of the origin of Superman. It is. There's even
like the parents are like farmers and stuff, and he has like a red cape and everything.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of throwbacks to that. Even some establishing shots are shot in a similar way to the Zack Snyder movie. So there's certainly callbacks to a lot of that and nods through the movie. But it is a low budget. This movie has guys like a $6 million budget. It's a low budget horror film. That's low
budget?
Yeah, that's
I don't know. That sounds like a lot to me.
No, that's like I think maybe 1 million more than like a Blumhouse budget. So, no, this is, if you're going into this movie expecting, like, something a bit more grand, that's not what you're going to get here. This movie is what if the Superman as a child story was a slasher movie. So, it kind of, a lot of it kind of has the feel of, like, an early 90s slasher movie, because it doesn't have quite, like, the graininess to it of a slasher movie that's earlier than that. But I'm like, I feel like this is the kind of slasher movie I would have seen in like 1992 or 1993. So I was enjoying that about the movie. I was actually quite entertained by it.
No, it's entertaining.
Yeah, like, but the sequences with him and his mom, again, where she's like going past the point of giving this kid the benefit of a doubt, but she's really good in the movie. The kid's creepy. There is chilling moments in this movie. There are some very, very chilling moments in the film. There's intense sequences where he's just flying through the house from one side to the next. The death scenes really work because you don't know how a lot of those are going to play out.
Because we don't know what his abilities are quite. I mean, we kind of do, but like we know that his hands, like, because he was mowing the lawn, and I guess the lawnmower, like, flipped over, and he put his hand in there. But I didn't know he could fly
I knew all that.
Well, I didn't know right away. Like,
I did, because, I mean, it's Superman.
I didn't know. I mean, who knows? Superman. They could have made their own spin to it.
Well, yeah, and that, like, he's, like, he's a murderous child. This is the better murderous child movie I've seen this year. The movie's actually a little bit like The Prodigy that came out a few months ago. Only he's like evil Superman and not like a reincarnated serial killer. So when I was watching this movie, I was thinking like, you could actually take this movie and attach it to, like, the second half of Man of Steel, and it totally plays.
Well, I've never seen Man of Steel, and I don't even...
It actually I'm envisioning it in my head. I'm like, yeah, I actually could kind of see the second half of Man of Steel playing really well as, like, a climax to this movie. And what this movie sets up at the end of the film. Like, I would actually really like to see more in this universe. I would like to see this universe of a horror movie versions of these characters.
Like Batman, like, he's actually, like, I don't know, what would you say? Batman?
If Batman just was Patrick Bateman from American Psycho.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I would really, and they kind of allude to that a little bit towards the end of this movie. Yeah, I would, that's really original. That's actually cool. I would be on board with this kind of universe. That would be
the dark universe that I'd like to see.
Yeah. So no, this movie, it's a 90-minute movie, and there's sequences where the kid is genuinely terrifying in a lot of these scenes. Now, he really is kind of just evil from the start, but the kid's good. Like, when
the kid wasn't annoying. Like, kid acting can be a hit or miss almost all the time, but he's creepy. Yeah. Like, there's even, like, pictures underneath his mattress where it's like, they think it's just normal, like, porn, which some of it kind of is. It's like Swimsuit Illustrated kind of things, but then it gets to, like, disgusting, like, organs or something. I don't know what it was.
Right. And Elizabeth Banks says, "Is this normal for a teenage kid?" Like, what? Just, like, cut open organs and shit like that, and like dissection going on. This is normal, right?
Well, it wasn't like that. It was like, I don't know, like bowels or something.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't just like, it wasn't like a person. It was just like organs or something. Mm-hmm. So we know this kid's a sociopath. Oh my god, what if we have a kid like that? Jesus Christ.
Well, that's why I ignored it when the kid's spaceship crashed behind us. Let our neighbors deal with that. Sorry, he's gonna come back to bite us in the ass anyway, apparently. He's still gonna murder us. No, there are actually some really beautiful shots in the movie, too. There's a death sequence. On a farm and... Yeah, there's a death sequence towards the end that's gorgeously done. That's intense, and I was kind of waiting for something like that to happen throughout the movie. But, okay, speaking of... If there's a thing that this movie does catastrophically wrong...
I know what you're going to say.
And I don't even know... It's not even that it's the fault of the movie. It's whatever the marketing was behind it. You know what? If you haven't... Don't seek out other trailers for this movie. Just don't. If you've avoided trailers for this movie so far, you know what? Good. Do not go and watch any trailer for this movie. Because there is a huge thing that happens at the end of this movie, and guess what? It's in the trailer for the film. Like, this is one of the most blatant examples I can think of an ending being in the trailer. Like, I'm not even talking like, oh, the last shots in the movie. No, I mean the last scene of the movie is in the trailer. And because of that, when it reached an hour into the movie, and I could kind of see in my head how the rest of it was going to play out, I was thinking the whole time, like, that's going to be the end of the movie. They seriously just put the ending scene in this. And because of that, I knew how this movie was going to end. And when it got to it, I was like, yep, I saw that that's where this was going.
I must have missed that in the trailer, because I didn't see that.
Right. That was, I don't think it was in the first trailer for the movie, but it is in one of them. It is in, I don't even remember if it was a TV trailer or if it was a theater, or maybe the second theatrical trailer. I'm not sure, but no, I was like, whoa, what were you thinking doing that? Because it's clear that was supposed to be the end. Like, this isn't a mistake of like, oh, well, they just moved it to later in the movie. No, someone knowingly took the ending of this movie and just stuck it in the trailer. Mm. And that's wildly frustrating, because it's not a mid-credit scene. It's the ending of this movie. But I did enjoy this. I did. I thought it was fun. It was a fun, like, if Superman was a slasher film.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like Superman and like I don't know. Yeah, like Batman or what's another?
He can. Well, I mean, he could go ahead and play Damien, I guess. Just remake The Good Son with this kid.
What's another superhero you can think of that would be a fun slasher movie?
I mean,
I thought you were gonna say Aladdin.
Aladdin, totally.
Jafar.
Yeah. No, I mean, a lot. You could take Cyborg and just make Jason X again, but with Cyborg.
Spider-Man would be that'd be
Spider-Man cool. If he just shot poisonous spiders at people.
Oh my god, that'd be so scary.
I would love it.
Yeah, so, you don't have fear. Oh, Wonder Woman. That'd be cool.
Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, but redone as I spit on your grave.
That'd be awesome.
She hangs poor Matthew at the end, like with the lasso of truth.
It's like a Dominatrix movie, though.
Yeah.
Like.
No, I would watch the hell out of that. No, I would enjoy to see a lot more movies like this. I hope the movie does well. I mean, it's got a low enough budget. I'm sure it'll make its money back.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Let's go ahead and answer some questions here before we get to the final one. I'm sorry I forgot to answer these between Aladdin and Brightburn, but let's get to your super chat questions here. Olivier Lavandiere says, any more Kung Fu reviews from Kung Tai Ted in the future? I doubt it. I haven't done that in like over 5 or 6 years. That was one of the...
I never saw those.
Oh, those are old. Like when I started the website, thecinemasnob.com, I created a few extra shows to have on there to have like a back catalog, because I wanted a back catalog for the site for it to be my full-time job. Also a back catalog because I was applying for Channel Awesome around the same time. So Kung Tai Ted was one of those shows where I played a karate guy and I was dubbed and talked about different like chopsaki movies from like the 70s. But I doubt that'll come back. I don't really do a lot of those old shows anymore. Of like kind of that era of shows, like the only one I probably still do other than the Cinema Snob is Brad Tries. Future movie actor, gotta save money for loans and debts, but I would have liked it if in Fast Times Brad and Linda had gotten together sometime after his fantasy of her. I don't think that would have played really well.
Wait, who was that again? In the
Phoebe
movie?
Cates. She walks in on him jerking off.
Oh, and they got together.
That would be like.
No.
You would need a lot of build up for that, considering her walking in on him. Yeah, that would be. I don't know. That would be weird.
Did you think she was hot in that movie? I'm sure you did.
Of course.
No, I know you did.
You'd rent that movie from the video store.
Ew,
and,
gross! Don't tell me.
Tracking would always be bad at that scene because that's where people would rent it and pause it, and you know.
I grew up with Blockbuster, Brad.
So you get it. You also rented Fast Times at Ridgemont High and paused it to jerk off to.
I don't jerk off, honey. I don't have a penis.
What?
What was that?
A look of shock is what that was. No, I wasn't.
Girls don't.
I wasn't explaining to you what a VHS.
Mansplaining jerking off.
No. Well, if there's one topic, I wasn't explaining to you what a VHS is. I'm saying that like tracking would be bad because people would usually pause it at that point to jerk off. Because she's naked in the scene, you see.
Oh, I get it. You're so stupid.
I know.
Why am I with you?
I ask myself that every night.
No, you don't.
Future movie actor. One issue with Lego Batman is Lego Batman is nitpicky. I wished Catwoman had a bigger role and that she was the love interest. I hope the sequel does it. I thought that movie was fine. I didn't love it as much as a lot of other people did. I would have wanted more Two-Face in it, especially because they got Billy D. Williams back, but he had just like a line or two. It was fine. I thought Return of the Caped Crusaders was a way better movie than Lego Batman. Dusty Gozongus, thank you for the donation. Mike Cochran, Gozongus. Mike Cochran, thank you so much for the donation as well. John Trevathon, Brad, did you get the Stranger Things New Coke? I didn't even. Well, they're re-releasing New Coke as a tie.
What's New Coke?
Well, you've come to the right person for that question.
I know.
New Coke was in 1985. They redid the formula of Coca-Cola and called it New Coke. And if I remember right, it mostly tasted like Pepsi. Like they were making it like sweeter, I think. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not the same thing. I love them both, but they are different.
No, Brad, come on.
Real, this is a hill that you're gonna die alone on. They are different.
They're both colas.
They're both cola, yeah, and Sprite and.
All right, I'm gonna do a test with you sometime.
I can tell you exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna try that.
Pepsi is sweeter. Pepsi is sweeter than Coca-Cola is. Coca-Cola has a heavier taste to it.
I'm right. I know I am.
No, they're different.
They're not different.
Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb, not so much. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are different. I'm not saying like necessarily the difference between Dr. Pepper and Coca-Cola.
We're sleeping in different beds tonight. All right, I'll put the test to you sometime.
Right. So I think Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton are the same person. They are. Just spoiler alert.
Hey, stop it! You're being mean.
I know. It's from the Aladdin review. I've got a mean streak going on. But so Coca-Cola did a new formula for it in 1985. And then people got mad and they brought it back, and that's why they call it Coca-Cola Classic. But New Coke was actually still around for a long time.
Okay, I guess I shouldn't question your knowledge on sodas.
Coca-Cola, they called it Coke 2 for a long time. So New Coke was still around for a while. It wasn't like it was Crystal Pepsi where it came and went and that was it. No, it was.
Oh my god!
It was
such
just.
A nerd.
It was. I know my sodas.
All right, so I'll take your side that Pepsi and Coke are different. But I'm still gonna test you sometime. And see
the difference between Coke and Pepsi, I can tell the difference. What about Diet Pepsi and Pepsi? Is that the same?
No.
Well, they're both colas.
Yeah, but one's diet.
and one's Coke and one's Pepsi.
They're different. I know. They're not. Those are two different arguments. Okay, forget it. You know what? You're just
I'm gonna make you have a taste test, and you'll win the taste test because Diet Pepsi and Pepsi do taste different.
You're not funny.
I'm hilarious.
No, you're not.
But
no sex for a month.
Oh, well, old friend.
Stop it.
No, so but.
Anyway,
Stranger Things. As a tie-in with Stranger Things, they're bringing back New Coke.
Okay, all right.
I'm down with it. Why not?
That was a long answer to that question.
Some. Oh, I could. Well, let me tell you about Pepsi AM.
What is that?
Oh,
okay,
Oh, see, you stepped in it on that one. Future movie actor again. Do you ever watch Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailer? No. Sorry. There's a lot of shows. There's a lot of YouTube shows I haven't seen. I'm sorry. I've heard of the show and Grace Randolph, but I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. Future movie actor. Way to stick it to him, Laura. Haha. I don't know what that's in context.
About the soda thing.
No, that happened hours ago.
I know, it's still.
Christopher Ayers. Pete's Dragon and Jungle Book are the only ones that have worked for me. Pete's Dragon worked for me.
I didn't see that one, but Jungle Book was unnecessary. It was just a test to see if they could do Lion King.
Mainly because those worked for them because mainly they go out of their way to try different things. They did. Yeah. They absolutely did. Andrew Polino. Did that get taken away? Oh, no, there it is. Andrew Polino. Hey, guys, when was the last time you went to Disneyland or Disney World? And what's your favorite memory from the parks?
I've never been. You need to take me.
I've taken you to the magical place of Springfield. Knight's Action Park. It's just like Disney World.
I've never been to Disney World. I would love to go, though. It's like it's on my bucket list. Someone send us enough money to go. No, not really. Don't do that.
The last time I was there was like maybe high school. Star Tours was probably my favorite thing about it. That was Disneyland. I think Star Tours is in MGM Studios in Florida, or at least it was. I don't know if it is anymore.
I've been to Legoland.
I grew up going to Six Flags St. Louis. But yeah, it's been a while. I would do Disney World again, especially as an adult. I can drink there now.
Take me.
All right, fine. I'll take you to Disney World.
Yeah, that sounds like you're my dad or something. My drunk dad or something.
Where's that damn mouse? I'm gonna punch him in the face.
What is wrong with you?
For no reason. I'm just gonna punch him in the face. Dad, what are you doing in here? Oh, I kicked this stupid mouse in the butt.
I'm only 16.
George Wilson, thank you so much for the super chat donation. Christopher Ayers, you should write a history book with the various sodas.
Oh, he could.
I could.
And fast food.
Yes. Let me tell you about the Arch Deluxe.
This is... God, I'm so much healthier than you.
Well, yeah.
Have
have you seen the comments, though? People are actually shocked I'm not morbidly obese.
I'm only drinking Dr. Pepper right now, but I normally just drink, like...
I'm drinking water.
Okay, that's a shock, but you never drink water. I normally just drink sparkling water, or just water, but I'm drinking Dr. Pepper because Brad asked me to do these reviews with him, and
It was supposed to be me and Ryan on here, like, for at least one of these.
So I needed caffeine. And...
He's busy editing the movie. He's doing a lot of work and everything on editing another Cinema Snob movie. So he couldn't come here tonight. But I mean, I do go, like, usually when I'm sitting, like, in the bathtub and I get thirsty, I got a straw, and I'm like,
stop it! Your bath water's so gross.
What do you expect me to do? Get out of the tub to take a shit?
I see you come out and you have, like, leeches on you for some reason. It's like, well, how did I get in there?
I guess I ate it. Let's see. Tim Stalling 75. Hi, Laura. How do you feel about the Lion King remake?
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's all I gotta say.
Lock Desaad 6. Do a Brad tries of Coke and Pepsi. Also insert Brightburn Man of Steel joke here. Way ahead of you. George Wilson, thank you again for the contribution. All right, let's go ahead and just... I'll try not to go on. Yeah, I'll try not to go on this very long. I know. There is a new Travolta movie out this weekend. This is a last-minute addition to the show. I didn't even pull any clips or anything. This is a movie called The Poison Rose that's directed by George Gallo, who is notable for writing, like, Midnight Run. He wrote Midnight Run with Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro. This is it's a private eye film. It takes place in 1978, and it's supposed to be like a take off of, like, old film noirs. Like, it even opens with a movie theater marquee that is showing the Maltese Falcon, and so that happens. I'm like, all right, don't do that. Just be your own thing, please. So it does have narration throughout it, with Travolta narrating the movie like it is an old film noir. And he is a private eye in L.A. who's from Texas, and he goes to his hometown in Texas, where he left decades before, to find this missing person who may be in this insane asylum. Like I said, this movie is taking place in 1978. So while he's there, he gets caught up in this murder mystery involving this star athlete, this football athlete, who ends up dying under mysterious circumstances. It might have something to do with possibly his wife, possibly this character's mother-in-law, or even some debts maybe he had, or this... there might be a poison going around that's causing cancer. So there's a lot of weird things in this town. This movie also has this millionaire character in there played by Morgan Freeman. The sheriff is Robert Patrick. There's a crazy old hippie played by Peter Stormare in the film. The insane asylum is run by... in the weirdest performance I've ever seen him give in anything.
Yeah. He has, like, a lisp and stuff.
Yeah, this crazy doctor running this asylum played by Brendan Fraser.
Oh God, he has not aged well.
It
I
works.
feel bad for saying that, but
I mean, he is made to look pretty weird in this movie too. This weird comb over he's doing in the film, this lisp he's given, like
I didn't even recognize him.
I did right away.
He's gained like I don't know a lot of weight. I know that's mean. I'm probably gonna gain weight at some point in my life, but it's just.
He's good in the film. Like it's a wacky performance he's playing.
He is actually really good in this.
This is a movie that I don't know how it's on demand. I don't know how many actual theaters that it's in, but there's a lot of things that I actually really enjoyed about this movie. There's some sweet scenes in the movie. Like there's John Travolta's daughter, Elle Travolta, is in the film. And there's a section of the movie where Famke Janssen is his former love interest. It turns out they had a daughter together, and there is this pretty sweet scene of him realizing this, and he and his daughter in the movie, who's his daughter in real life, have a nice scene together where they're having coffee and donuts and things like that. And I like seeing Travolta back playing chain-smoking John Travolta in a movie. Plus that it's taking place in the late 70s. Like, he's got, like, the pop collar in some scenes. There's a part he's going into this club, and there's some kind of disco-y music playing. He does better with the... I wonder if this was made around the time of Trading Paint, because he has a southern accent in both of them.
Yeah, it takes place in like Texas.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
This, I thought that was really working for him here. This is a significantly better made movie than Trading Paint.
No, this was better. I was falling asleep during this movie though. I turned around and I kind of fell asleep or was closing my eyes a little bit. But yeah, this was like, it was better, like, because I like movies that are taking place in, like, the 70s or early 70s.
Late 70s, this one, yeah.
Oh, this was late 70s.
It's like 78.
And an insane asylum in the late 70s, I love that kind of stuff. I think it's so creepy, and I love that kind of stuff. And there was a funny moment when John Travolta, like, pulled up to the insane asylum, and someone was like, oh, thank goodness you're here, or something like that. And then he was like, wait, how do you know who I am? And then these doctors come out and they're like, oh, she's a schizophrenic, or she has multiple personalities or something. And
there's a fire at this place at one point, and all these patients walking around like it's Halloween. And I'm like, does someone maybe want to round some of them up?
Yeah, any movie with like an insane asylum before there was like regulations.
Yeah,
I think it's really creepy and funny sometimes because it can just like, how is this how did that even happen?
There's a part where Travolta goes, do you guys do shock treatment here? And they're like, no. And he's like, oh, thank God.
They probably just do lobotomies.
Oh, yeah. One step better. No, like...
They just put an ice pick through their eye to get to their frontal lobe.
So, this movie, I loved him a lot in this movie. I liked seeing him. He plays a former pro football player in this movie, and who's turned private eye, and he's like kind of hard drinking through the film, and is chain smoking through it. He's got some cool sequences where he's being like, you know, kind of classic cool sunglasses, cigarette John Travolta.
No,
like,
he actually looks really good in this.
He does. Yeah, he really does. And like it's fun seeing sequences like the gambling scene where it's all these actors playing off of each other.
Is that an Instagram post?
From one of the crew members, I think. But it was I honestly couldn't find very many pictures from this movie.
I wonder why.
He
actually looks really handsome.
Yeah, there are really cool Travolta moments in the movie, and I honestly didn't mind this movie.
It wasn't terrible. It was way better than the other.
It was better than
like Warning Shot.
Trading Paint.
Was that what it was called? Warning Shot?
Well, that didn't have Travolta.
No, I'm just saying like the direct-to-video movies that you've been seeing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is, I think, out in some theaters, but...
This was actually better than most of the...
Yeah, this was way better than Trading Paint. This was better than, it's... Gotti is more entertaining, but, like, this is a better put-together movie than Gotti is. Like, it's... It has some wacky scenes involving this insane asylum and all this like southern melodrama going around that I was kind of into, and I liked seeing him go through all these sequences with these weird characters as this, private eye from the South who's been living in LA for a long time. It's not. Yeah. I'm wondering if I'm pretty lenient on this because of stuff like Trading Paint. Like, I am waiting for that next great John Travolta movie. Yeah. And American Crime Story, which was a series, that was fantastic. That was some of his best work in years. This one, if you're ranking it along with some of the recent stuff, yeah, like, the Trading Paints of the world and stuff like that. Well, this is better.
He's not sleepwalking during it.
Well,
either.
No, not at all. He never does.
Yeah.
He never does sleepwalk through anything. So it's, it
was fine. Like, I fell asleep, but it was fine.
Yeah, here's how I really feel about this movie, and it's that it's very much shot like it's a procedural on the USA Network.
Yeah.
Like, it comes across like that. Like, this would be a cable drama, mystery drama you would be seeing. And so it kind of has that vibe to it. If you were to pop this movie on with the mindset of an older movie of the week, the ABC movie of the week or something like that, this movie works in that regard. It's only 90 some minutes, and you get to see John Travolta be pretty cool in the movie, and
it looks like he lost weight for it too.
Yeah, it's not breaking any new ground. It's certainly going through a lot of the cliches of this kind of private eye noir movie, and a lot of his narration is kind of, it's saying obvious things his character would be saying, I wish I could remember some off the top of my head. This character has done a lot of LSD, more so than that Tim Leary. It's just it's obvious narration that's sort of just explaining things that you already know. It's way better. It's doing something more successfully than that London Fields movie that you and I saw. Yeah. So I might be lenient towards it in the sense that another noir movie like that, London Fields, was really freaking bad. Mm-hmm. And, a couple of of Travolta's movies he had before this were worse than this. This isn't a great movie, but for the 90 minutes it was on and I was watching it, just to be watching it at home as just kind of this, southern mystery noir movie, I thought it was fine. I mean, if you're if you're a big Travolta fan like me, you'll get some cool John Travolta stuff in it.
We should have a John Travolta day.
I am always down for a John Travolta day.
We had a Tom Cruise day the other day.
Oh yeah.
So Travolta day would be fun.
There's things, if you're looking for a Travolta mystery, Blowout, way better than this. Blowout's one of his best movies. Blowout was a fantastic film. The General's Daughter was a mystery movie he did. That movie wasn't great, but it was better than this. This movie, with him playing a former football player, and it's a noir mystery movie. At first, I was like, is this a remake of, or there was a movie from the 80s called Against All Odds. I was like, I could pull up the picture, but I own it. As you can see, I paid a fortune. There's a Jeff Bridges movie from the 80s called Against All Odds. It's a really good mystery movie. Really underrated, too. And in that, he plays a former football player who's hired by a guy to, find his... trail the dude's wife or something like that. And James Woods is the bad guy in it. It's a really underrated movie. You haven't seen this, check it out. No relation to the Travolta one other than they're both, kind of send-ups of a film noir, and the character used to be a football player. But that movie's better than this. But it was, it was fine. To rent it, to pop it up on TV, totally serviceable for that. So let's get into looks like the last...
Only one more.
Yeah, the last question here from Andrew Polino, and then we'll head out of here. Thank you so much, Andrew. One quick follow-up. What destinations besides Disney World are still on your travel bucket list?
I mean, you've never really been outside the country except for Canada that one time.
Briefly when I was in Canada.
I'd like to take you back to one of my favorite countries is Germany. Mm-hmm. In Austria and Salzburg.
Yeah.
I would love to take you there because that's one of my favorite cities.
Yeah. No, yeah. I guess I should go outside the country.
We were talking about, like, for a 5-year anniversary, maybe doing, like, I was saying Alaska. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Alaska would be a lot of fun.
Yes, I can stay in the same town from
You
Northern...
don't need to get a passport.
No, I don't. And I can... we can hang out at this in Northern Exposure in Sicily. That's not even I don't even think that's a real town, but let's go to the town it was filmed in.
In Sicily?
Sicily, Alaska, from Northern Exposure.
Oh, isn't that also an Italian city? Sicily?
No. Yeah. Oh well. Yes, it is. But like,
okay. Well,
not in Northern. I only know the Northern Exposure one.
Well, sometime I'm gonna take you to all the places I used to live in.
Yeah. No.
I'd love to take you to Madrid. I'd like to take you to England. That'd be a lot of fun. I've never been there, but I'd like to go.
I'll take you to all the places I lived.
I'm not going to.
What?
What?
Are you gonna
Chatham?
Yes.
That's like 20 minutes away.
Insulting my... Oh, excuse me. It's 10 minutes away. We'll go to Chatham, Illinois. We'll go over to Riverton.
I am so glad I got to travel as a child.
I mean, I traveled too.
Oh my god, no, you...
Yes, I did.
You don't know anything about the world.
No. We used to travel... When I was a kid...
It sounds so pretentious.
We grew up... No, I grew up going to, like... Six Flags St. Louis. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's 90 minutes away, but it is in a different state.
Ooh, let's go to Switzerland.
Oh no!
Oh, no!
Here's what I think of your Chatham, Illinois.
Sorry! Oh my god, it didn't break, did it?
No. Other than you breaking my heart about trashing my homeland.
Your cornland.
No, Cornland is like about 45 minutes that way. That's a real place, by the way.
That's a real place.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry I spilled your water.
Oh no.
Oh, Chloe will get it. Anyways.
All right, everyone.
But to answer the question, let's go to Europe sometime.
Yeah, definitely. And
you will not fit in because you look like.
Do I look like I'm from the Midwest? What if I?
No. No. Oh my god, I'd be so embarrassed.
Hey, French people, let's rap about fry sauce.
Oh my god.
All right.
Anyways,
I guess we'll go ahead and head out of here.
I want to go to sleep pretty soon.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and subscribe to us at youtube.com/stonedgremlin productions. Also follow us on Twitter at the Cinema Snob. And next week is Ma and Godzilla. And I forget what the other one next week is, but Gino and I are also doing an early review of Secret Life of Pets 2. We'll have that coming up for you this weekend. So thanks a million, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next time.